Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got 5 more super cool knives that you probably have not heard of yet. There is no particular criteria other than I think they're cool, and I think you probably will too. I will link everything down below in the description if it's available. Some of this stuff is not available, so just be aware of that. But if it is, it'll be down there. It does help my channel when you use those links, so feel free, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. A lot of this stuff has not been shown on the channel yet, so you're seeing it here first. There will be content covering it later on. Starting off here, did you know that Maxis makes an auto? This is the Maxis Babylon A. The original Babylon, or the one that I remember handling, was just like a regular button lock, non-auto. Not sure how they're getting this done, but it is pretty cool. This one in particular, if they do have different configurations, is sort of like a G10 and carbon fiber combination with a titanium pocket clip. Seam construction. We do have kind of a medium action, but plenty to keep the blade locked out. If you hold the button down, you can see the coil spring is definitely strong enough to keep it out there. M390, it's called the Babylon A for auto, right? They're not going to say auto, but it's called Babylon A for auto. And then it does have an additional lock there. So you can actually lock it in the closed position, keep it from firing, or you can lock it in the open position and keep it from disengaging. Typical Maxis quality, one that is not quite on the extreme. If you've seen a lot of Maxis's other stuff, you know that they typically like to do the extreme thing. This one's actually pretty well balanced, and it definitely is on the larger side. So if you like automatic knives, but you've noticed that there's a lack of XL or large size automatics, this one's definitely up there. I think the overall length is approaching 9 inches, if not right at. It is right at 9 inches. So this is a bigger guy. Pretty cool, decently well balanced. Not a bad price for what you're getting. Moving on here. Here's one that, might be blending in, but I thought was pretty neat. And that's the Midgard KECRYX, or at least that's how I'm going to pronounce it. I think it's KERYX. This actually has an amazing price tag on it versus the competition in the same general zone, as is the case with a lot of Midgard stuff. We have beautifully milled and contoured titanium scales, nice milled backspacer, and a nice milled clip. We have an M390 blade and beautiful action all the way around. This guy's a front flipper, but it's also got a little slot you can use to do the reverse flick. And because there is no flipper tab, you can make use of this forward choil area without getting stuck on, a bird's beak or anything like that. It's actually pretty well designed. Some of Midgard stuff it's got the titanium, it's got the S90V or the M390, it's got the materials, but then it takes a form that's like not very well executed. This is actually really well executed. Has a nice, I'm going to call it a sheep's foot blade. I know the blade shape police are going to come after me. The freaking Google wisdom blade shape ninja experts level 9,000 guy. I'm going to call it a sheep's foot, which is great for EDC. Still what I would call a full-size knife. It gives you that full titanium solid feel without actually being like a monstrous, hulking tank of a knife. Pretty good. And the price on this guy, again, if you consider other things that are in, actually within the same competition range, really, really good. You have not seen a review on this knife yet, but spoiler alert, it's really good. Moving on here, here's a wild one that you're going to have a hard time getting a hold of. A lot of people are going to see this and they're going to look up the price tag and, oh my gosh, who would ever? Well, a lot of them are sold out, right? In fact, they might actually be completely and totally sold out. This is a design knife. This was designed to be a wild design and not necessarily designed to be the most functional thing in the whole world, but it is surprisingly functional. And that's the, get ready. This is the Reich and Forever Steel Cybertrix. Designed by KECRYX. I'm so sorry. I'm going to get this down for the review. And then it's sold by KECRYX, which is confusing because KECRYX is also a partner of Reich and a brand in and of themselves. Love it or hate it, right? Everybody's going to make the same joke. Oh, God, I have the perfect joke for that. Oh my gosh.
Guys, you know what it looks like? Oh my god, get ready to laugh. Oh my gosh, I'm a genius. It looks like the Cybertruck.
Yeah, it looks like the Cybertruck. Can we get that out of the way? I've never actually seen a pocket knife with lines like this. The other wild thing is the construction, right? We have no screws showing anywhere. And I'm gonna show how it's disassembled when I actually do the review, but it is wild. It also, this is really cool, it runs on phosphor bronze, not bearings, as far as I can tell. It's an inset liner lock, which is pretty cool. Lots of titanium, but all of these lines follow the same type of thing, right? And there's going to be a lot of people saying it looks ugly, and that's fine. The point that I'm trying to make is this thing is wildly cool just because it is so unique. It's very rare that I see anything with the same or even a similar aesthetic. Even like the little thumb triangle things. This knife is insanely expensive, and I don't know that I 100% agree with the price tag, but it is different. I mean, we've seen inset liner locks before, but I have never seen anything like this. And because it's manufactured by Reich, the actual machining quality is incredible. It's just absolutely stunning. Everything is just completely and totally perfect. It's wild. This is really an exceptionally cool knife. Comes in a couple of different blade shapes. I'm hoping they continue to do these. I've also seen them in two-tone, right? But very, very cool and very deserving of a spot on this list. Moving on here, a knife that will not cause me to go on any tangents or rants. I just think it's really cool. This thing is definitely flying under the radar. So this is the concept, and I'm a little confused by this, but they call this the Integra, and it's JK knives. And a lot of people are probably going to say, I've heard of that before. I actually have a full custom JK Integra here that is Timascus and Damacor. You'll see that actually unboxed on the channel here at some point. But it's a full-on JK Integra. I think this is legitimately a production version of the Integra, and maybe they called it the Integra on purpose, or maybe it's actually a typo and it's supposed to be called the Integra and they just didn't put a T in there. I don't know. But this is very, very similar to the real thing, to the point where I don't know that a lot of people realize that this is a production Integra, and the Integra itself is a really cool knife. This thing just costs way less money because it's made in China by Concept, and it's I think this is S35VN. No, I'm sorry, it's M390 and titanium. Listen to me, it's M390. It's super extra special. Yeah, titanium clip, right? Really nice action. This is a pretty underrated knife, and because it is a Concept, you're not going to see an insane price tag on it. So pretty cool. I just felt like maybe more people might want to know about it. To a lot of people, they're going to go, that's great. It still looks like a really basic titanium frame lock. But if you didn't know, this is a substantially less expensive version of the JK Integra, with probably some changes here or there. But very cool. I'll make sure this one's linked down below. And then finally, the one that I'm almost certainly put in the thumbnail because it's the most striking. This is a prototype. This is not a knife that you can get right now, but I know they plan to make it. This is the Midgard Messer carbine rifle knife. You're going to see me unbox this. You're going to watch the video. It's actually going to be in the future. It's already recorded, right? It's just not, I haven't made it public yet. You're going to watch me struggle around trying to figure out how this thing all locks together. This is a gigantic, hulking, crazy. It's actually more, I think it's 275,000. So yes, it's thicker than the thickest Medford Praetorian tie, right? It's thicker. It's bigger than that. Really crazy, ultra monstrous knife. Why would you ever need it? These things are just sort of novelty to people who like overbuilt knives. Like, I'm somebody who really loves overbuilt knives. I like to collect them, even though I know full and well, or good and well, that they are impractical 99.9% of the time. But I do like that there's this push for creating more and more and more durable locking systems for knives. And this one definitely has something kind of new. If you disengage this, you'll see that there's a hole in the blade. It actually goes all the way through. You can see out the front here, there's a hole in the blade. And the purpose is, you can see as it locks up here, there's this little thing. I'll actually get it out. It's got a bolt action. It's like a bar that comes through. And this bar, when the blade is locked out, actually goes into the blade, and then this can be locked out here. And that secures it on top of the fact that we have a standard frame lock with an enormous amount of surface contact stabilizing it. On top of the fact you can't see them, but there are garaged stops on the blade. So we have two additional, well, normally it would be one with a traditional stop pin, but we have an additional point of contact, right? So now we have frame lock, extra pin on the lug, the stop here. We have this whole bar going through the blade, and then you can lock it out further. Cold Steel Triad Lock fans keeping count? Yes, that's 4. That's 4 points of contact. No, it can't be. No, settle down. It's all a big joke, right? Everything's overkill. Everything past the back lock has been overkill for a long time. So we have this additional pin in here. There's absolutely no way, even if you move that frame lock out of the way, that blade cannot go anywhere. You will break every other part of this knife before you break the part of it that is locking the actual blade into place. And at that point, we've reached the definition of overkill. And the same thing can be said for the Triad Lock, right? But it's just fun because it's so easy to trigger Cold Steel. All you have to do is say, is this better? Is this better than a Triad Lock? And they'll just come running. No! Right? It's the same thing. Right? I've been making the same joke for 5 years, and I get the same reaction every single time. Oh, man. This is nuts, man. I'm sure it'll end up costing an enormous amount of money, right? I really wish that they would switch to S45VN or something stainless and not CPM D2. There's nothing wrong with CPM D2, but everybody thinks it's the same thing as D2 and that it should only belong on a $50 knife, right? We're going to get comments under this video that are saying the exact same thing. CPM D2 is the crucible powder form of D2, and while it's not that much better in terms of performance, it actually is better and has better it's a more even carbide distribution, right, in the edge, and definitely a more consistent cake mix as far as, that's the whole purpose of powderizing the steel, right? It's definitely more expensive to make. It's definitely more expensive to purchase for these companies to purchase it and turn it into a blade, right? But it says D2 in it, so it's really hard to get that sense of value. And honestly, even all that considered, I don't really like seeing it on an ultra expensive knife. I would rather see a powdered stainless super steel. Just feel like it would be a little bit better. But will it work on this knife? I mean, yeah. I mean, if the goal is to like chop down small trees or like, I don't think anybody should be prying with a knife, but geez, if you were gonna, not saying Midgard Messer's warranty will cover it, but if you were gonna, here you go. So yeah, this will be available sometime in the future at Tools for Gents, and I'll make sure and link Tools for Gents down below. That's where I get a lot of those crazy overbuilt Midgard Messer knives. So we have the carbine rifle knife. It actually says that on the blade, the carbine rifle knife. Then we have the Concept JK Integra, if that's correct. We have the, this is Cybertruck. It looks like the Cybertruck knife from Reich and Forever Steel and Quechua and Deck Links. I'm so sorry. I will get that right. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I just can never remember the designer's name. We have the Miguron. I've already forgot. The KECRYX? Yeah. Not carrots. KERYX, I think. And then we have the Midgard Babylon A, which is a Midgard automatic. Crazy enough. I'll link as much of this as I can down in the description. Thanks so much for watching today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.